Hi, I'm Wayne Faree, professional stone carver, and today I'm down at Old Good Things, one of my favorite places. These folks take advantage of buildings that are being demolished, and they go in and they take out the old craftsman artisans' work. Stained glass windows, terracotta, marble, limestone, ironwork, furnishings, and they save these and restore them or sell them as is down at their various locations. And the proceeds that they use from their works here go to support orphanages in Haiti. But we're going to talk about some of the items that they have around here. Fantastic old craftsmanship. So let's take a look. Now these are some of the stones that Old Good Things have retrieved from various demolitions, so on and so forth. And these are Indiana limestone sculpted columns and capitals. The ornaments on the top of columns are called capitals, and they're really quite intricate. And so what would happen with those is you'd start out with a block, and the block would be the total dimension of the stone. And then you'd probably start out with a pattern of what you need on the top and a pattern of what you need on the bottom. By marking the stone two ways, on top and bottom, before you start, you can get the center point on top and on bottom so that you have an idea exactly where you're at. So this top profile would be carved, but you wouldn't carve too deep because you've got this that is even with the end. It's probably sunk in even just a little bit. So you would cut this down to this point, and then you would know where this starts. And on the bottom, you would cut a circle, and then you would know where all this starts. So you would mark and cut that circle so you know where you're at. But you don't want to come in too far, because this is on a slope, and then you've got all these ornamentations that you have to allow for. So whatever is outmost gets carved first, and then you go and subtract the stone from there. This is an Indiana limestone column, and it's kind of more of a rustic grade stone. You can see where the cement has been worn away from the shells of the little ocean creatures that were buried in the ocean beds. And you can look closely, you see all the little shells and crustaceans that make up this stone. Now these stones probably started out as rectangular blocks, and then they were put on a lathe which has two pins that go into the center top, center bottom, and the stone spins on the machine, and then tools are pressed up against it like a wood lathe, and as the column turns, the stone is chipped away with chisels, big chisels. And then on a stone like this, the same process, because this stone is bigger at the bottom than it is at the top. And as you look up this stone, you can see how it's tapered. And it's probably even got a bow out. It's not exactly straight from that to that. It's sort of a convex shape. So once it's off the lathe, this is most likely done with a planer. Or it could be done by hand, but I think that it's probably done by a planer. A planer can be seen at some stone mills. They still have them. Everything's going digital now. But a planer is a big cast iron bed that you lay your stone on, and that bed travels underneath a tool that gradually scrapes out the shape that you're after. So every pass, the stone comes through, and then the bed comes back, and then it comes through, and you're taking about 1/8 of an inch to 3/32 of an inch at a time, maybe a 1/16. So every time that comes back, and starts coming through the stone again, the blade gets lowered just a little bit until you get down to what you're after. Now here we are outside of Old Good Things, and we can see that they've got some Indiana limestone remnants that were rescued off a building that was probably being demolished. As you can see, that these are pretty old stones. They're really well weathered. There's a lot of damage that could have been maybe from salt or something. I'm not sure where they were placed in the building. I'm not sure about that. But this was probably facade. You can see where they've anchored in probably different things to hold signs and various advertisements. But these stones they're still really good. I'm not sure. I don't think that they would be easily restored, and probably most wouldn't want to do that. They could have been cleaned up with water jets and that sort of thing. But they're still excellent stones. They could be incorporated into a landscape somehow, or they could have designs carved in here. There's a lot of different things that you can do with these old stones. And Old Good Things have seen the possibilities here, and so they're waiting to be used in some fashion. I think they'd be excellent in a garden setting. They could be placed vertically or horizontally. Designs could be incorporated into them. They could be incorporated into a masonry wall made with regular block, various different shapes. So we've got some possibilities here. Now this one, look at the beautiful carving on this. And there's carving on both sides of this. This was probably in the side of an entryway or something like that. There's a wonderful piece of gray marble here as well. But isn't that beautiful? That is just wonderful. Now here's some other great columns that were rescued by Old Good Things. And these are really beautiful. These could definitely be incorporated into a building. I think they'd be excellent for a garden landscape. There's a little bit of damage on top. That could be repaired. Capitals could be placed on there. Sculptures or lintels, stone lintels. Actually, the stones that we looked at previously that were standing vertically, we were wondering what we could do with those. Those could be placed on top for a garden entryway. That would be ideal, actually, because they have the little egg and dart moldings going along the top. That would be an excellent way to use those stones we looked at previously. These are old capstones, and they were probably the top of piers, something like that. We can see that there's some metal work fasteners in here, so there was something on top. I'm not sure what that was, but I'm pretty sure that these were capstones on piers, stone piers. Over here we have some stones that are left over. These were probably also capstones on a wall. You can see that there's mortar on the ends. They're fashioned. They have molding fashions on both sides of them, and those are excellent stones for all sorts of different purposes. Over here what we have is terracotta. This was actually clay. This is terracotta clay, and it's fashioned and then it's baked off and it's glazed, and these last in the weather for years and years and years, providing that the water doesn't get into them. They're usually hollow to keep the weight off of them. Some of them are filled as they need to be with mortar, the connections, and they're numbered. Everything was numbered so that you knew exactly what stone went where. And over here we have terracotta moldings that were probably in some horizontal course of the building. These were usually seen from the opposite side. And this is what's known as egg and dart molding. This is the egg and this is the dart. Very common design. We're at another part of the building at Old Good Things, and you can see there's a very curious looking cat. He's wondering what the heck you're doing. We're not here to invade your territory, but you can see there's some really wonderful columns here as well. And the moldings in those columns is called a fluted column. And up top you can see these wonderful capitals that have been carved. Absolutely gorgeous. Well, this concludes our little tour of Old Good Things. I hope you got some insight into what they do down here and the things that they're preserving. We hate to see these things just go to the dump or the scrap yard. So, thanks for watching.